Hey everyone. In this video, I want to talk about how you need a healthy outlet to deal with stress and anxiety in life. I've basically come to realize that it's very difficult to get through life without having some healthy form of relieving stress. And quite often, if people don't work on finding a healthy outlet for this, they'll end up falling into really unhealthy forms of stress management like drinking alcohol, doing drugs, watching a ton of porn, and even unhealthy eating where people will binge eat ice cream or cookies and other things like that to deal with their stress or their unwanted emotions. So, knowing that for a lot of our lives we're going to be dealing with an intense amount of stress and anxiety, it's very important that you pick a healthy outlet. So think about that right now in your own life. What things do you enjoy doing that make you feel good, that once you're done doing them, you feel a bit relieved? You feel like you've gotten rid of some of the stress and anxiety in your life? Figure out what they are and do more of those things. And if you don't currently have something in mind, then figure out something. Start trying new things until you find something you enjoy. Now, I would say for the most part, the only things you truly need to avoid are things that would be considered vices, like what I previously mentioned were unhealthy, because you can play video games, you can watch TV shows and movies, and I wouldn't consider those as unhealthy. Now, obviously, you don't want to be completely sedentary, you don't want to fall into those things so much that your physical health declines, but I would say for the most part, if you aren't doing those things on that level, those are healthy forms of relieving stress. As long as you're not basically letting yourself go, then I'd say almost anything that isn't a vice is probably something you can do to let go of stress. For instance, some of my favorite things to do are playing video games. I actually am quite an avid gamer and I'm pretty good at some games if I say so myself. But anyway, I also love hiking. I love working out. That's a huge one for me. That's probably one of the best forms of stress relief I would tell people about, because not only does it relieve mental stress, which is a big part of our lives, but it relieves physical stress because so many people kind of don't realize how stress will manifest in the body. So you want to do active things as well to let go of stress in that way. So I always encourage physical activities like walking, hiking, working out if you can, or at least some form of exercise, going for a run, going to the gym, whatever you're into, figure out something, but it's very good to be active. And then beyond reading and playing video games, watching TV shows, you can also get into a sport, which is another great thing because it's also active. And sports can be incredibly fun. You could find a local basketball group for people you can play with. You can get into volleyball groups if you live near a beach, or indoor volleyball, or football if you're into that, or soccer. There's so many different things that you can get into that will help you relieve stress. So basically, it all comes down to what you're interested in. So really figure that out and make sure it's something healthy, because you just don't want to find a vice which it's really bad. I can't tell you how many people fall into drinking or doing drugs. I even consider smoking weed. It's kind of a bad thing. I understand that it's not really bad for your health physically for the most part, but the way it makes you feel can be very addicting, and it tends to make people very lazy. I haven't met many people who are able to smoke a ton of weed and still be productive. So, as much as we all know that weed isn't quite a bad habit for the most part because it doesn't really negatively affect your health, besides giving you the munchies, which may make you eat unhealthy things, I'd still say you should stay away from that for the most part. It's not what I would call a healthy form of stress relief just because it can make you lose motivation to improve your life. And that makes it not worth it, in my opinion. But if you do it every now and then, maybe like even once every 3 days, once a week, or just not daily at least, I would say it's probably not a bad thing to do. Just make sure you do it in moderation, because that is something that can easily become a vice if you allow yourself to do it all the time and basically become a, what you would call it, a couch potato. I've known some people who did that. They were very ambitious and then they got into smoking weed all the time and they lost all of their ambition. So I don't want that to happen to any of you. So just be careful with that one. But for the most part, if you can find healthy things, do them and do them more often. And if you are a gamer like I am, I would highly suggest you work out because, well, one, it's cool to be considered a buff gamer, but beyond that, it's just good to stay active because playing video games all the time, since they can be addicting, can really make your physical health decline. When I was younger, in middle school, I was into gaming so much. I would game for like probably over 8 hours a day during the summer, and I was as thin as a rail. So if you are into something like that, where you get lost for hours playing something or doing something you enjoy, then at least make sure you still do some form of physical activity as well, just so that you aren't being incredibly thin or overweight. You like that healthy balance of being physically fit. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents on why you need a healthy outlet, because it's very difficult to get through life having no form of stress relief. And if you don't have a form of stress relief, then odds are you probably have an unhealthy form of it that you aren't thinking about. And a very common one is watching too much porn. So try not to do that. In the future, I'll make a video on this topic, most likely about not watching porn and even no fap. But for now, I'll push that aside for a tiny bit. But yeah, that's a very bad habit. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble at this point, so I'm going to end this video here. I hope this video helped you, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Arrivederci.